If you want to know how to make your drawings go from this to this in just a couple of days, then make sure to keep watching this video where I draw for Inktober for every single day to improve my art. So if you're still trying to improve your art like I did, you can also follow lots of tutorials on my channel.
Hey guys, this is Dinosaur, and today we're going to be doing another tutorial. So I have everything set up. What you're seeing right here is an eraser that is basically holding my little sketchbook in place because the pages are willing to sometimes just, you know, it just wants to close. But anyways, I have like my whole PC set up. I have my desk right here, so I thought, like, why not just make Inktober day 31 which has already been like a long time ago, like 7 months or something like that, but we're gonna see. So what we're gonna be drawing is actually the T-Rex from the trailer from Jurassic World Rebirth. I'm really excited about that, but let's begin. So what we want to start off with, we want to have like an area where we can, you know, like draw in. So I want to make like a little square area. This is like gonna be like my what do you call that? You're just making oh, I forgot the name for these, but little, you know, squares that you can draw in. If that makes sense. All right, then we want to start out with like making the head of the T-Rex. So like we're just gonna draw it like really close up. So we're gonna have like a curved line over here, and then we want to block in like the whole area for the T-Rex's head. Excuse me. And over here as well, like the bottom jaw is going to be over there like that, and then the body kind of like goes off into the distance like that. And we're actually going to draw outside of these pockets, but I just drew them as reference so that it's easier to, like, you know, like you have a curved line over here, right? And then we want to have like the jaw going down like this, and then it actually goes out like that, and it connects over here with like some kind of skin flap. And then we have the bottom jaw going like this, and it's very foreshortened, so it might look really weird right now, but eventually we should get something that looks a lot more like the T-Rex. Right, there we go. So that's like the bottom jaw, and we want to, of course, like draw it in, you know. And we're also going to add color, by the way. So if you have colored pencils, that's fine as well, but I prefer to just use markers, and that's actually what I would recommend as well. But anyways, so now we're gonna do the other side of the upper jaw. It goes like this, and then it goes down like this, and then it goes out like that. And over here we have like a line that goes like this. So it looks really weird right now, but that's just because we just started, and it's still gonna have to, you know, go through the process of refining everything. We're just blocking in the basic shapes and everything that we need for this drawing. This is a little bit inaccurate, so I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna make it a little bit more accurate like this. Alright, that should be fine. Now we have like a little bump over here, and we can also already draw in, you know, like the skin flaps right there. And again, it might not look like a lot right now, and it has been a long time since I've actually drawn like this, so please bear that in mind. I'm not like at my peak right now. If that makes sense. All right, the eye is gonna be over here, and like the eye ridge will kind of be like that, very pronounced eye ridge. And the T-Rex always has like a black spot right under his eye. And I don't know if this is a male or female. I have no idea. I'm not gonna, you know, like worry about that right now, because a lot of you guys don't like it when I call something that is supposed to be female male, and the other way around as well. Like, I get a lot of comments still from a video that I did years ago about Mothra, and apparently I called Mothra a he, but it turns out that Mothra is a she. So yeah. Alright, let's draw in some teeth actually. And this is not going to be 100% accurate. This is just going to be for like casual people that like to draw, and they would just want to know how to draw. the Jurassic Park Rebirth Tyrannosaurus Rex. Alright, and this is specifically the one from the trailer, by the way. Couple teeth there. Couple teeth over there. And now we should draw in the tongue, which goes like this. And it goes like that. There we have the tongue. And I must say that it looks pretty deformed at the moment. And I apologize for that. Like I said, it's been a long time since I've actually drawn like this, like traditionally. And even digitally, I do struggle still a lot. Excuse me. So this is the time of year where my hay fever is acting up a lot, so I might have to like clear my throat a lot. I'm so sorry. Alright, here we go. So there's going to be a line over there. This whole area is going to be like basically darkened in. Then we want to pronounce this line over here a little bit better. There we go. And I might actually not upload this video because I don't like the drawing at all. But I guess that a lot of you guys just, you know, the casual drawers out there, they don't really care if it looks top notch. So this is for them, you know, this is for the people that just like to draw casually. They're not really worried too much about like how accurate something is, you know, if that makes sense. And I keep on going over it, by the way, and I suggest that you guys do the exact same. So when something isn't right, just make sure that the first couple of lines that you put down are very very thin, so you can barely see it, it's barely visible, and that way it opens up the opportunity for you to go back in and refine your drawing. Okay, I want to have some detail, like showing that this is actually the inside of the mouth. There we go. And now I suppose that the nostril would be like somewhere over here, right? And there's like a dark area over here, like that little hole that a T-Rex typically has, you know? I really don't like this drawing. But it's okay, it's fine, it's fine. Alright. So here we go. Now we can, or we could, add some color. And I have like Ohuhu markers here. Oh, that's my sharpener. I have Ohuhu markers. I have a lot more than these. Yeah, way more than these. But anyways, I could use some greens, because there's a lot of green in this drawing, or in this picture that I'm using, this reference. So I'm gonna pick out some dark greens, right? This one is like the darkest one. I think I'm gonna need that one. And I think I'm gonna need some yellows as well, which is good because I have a couple of yellows over here. And I'm just gonna pick out like some, like a mid color. Basically what I'm doing is I'm doing like the darkest color of, for example, the green, then a mid, and then a light one. And I'm gonna do the same thing for everything else in the drawing. Like for example, if we have a gray, like something gray, I'm gonna have a very dark gray, a mid gray, and a light gray. Well, I do have more markers, like I do have more alcohol markers. These aren't like all of them, but you're getting the basic idea. So I'm gonna get everything ready and then I'll be back. Alright, so I have a couple of colors ready. Well, the colors I'm gonna be using are gonna be a dark gray, right, a mid gray, and we're gonna be using a light gray. Not sure if it's focusing. Then we're also gonna be using yellow and orange. So we're gonna go from orange to yellow, which is gonna be like the most orange one, then like a mid-tone between orange and yellow, and then a very bright yellow one. Then from the greens, we're gonna be using a very dark green, a mid-tone, and like a very light green. I'm not sure which one was the... Oh yeah, so this one is the lightest one. This one is like the mid-tone. There we go. So the reason why we're not using very dark colors is because with the grays we can go over it and it will automatically, there's a fly here, it will automatically like make everything darker. If you go over, for example, like yellow with a very light gray, you're gonna get dark yellow, and so on and so on. But first we want to actually go over it with ink. So this is a micron pen, a 0.1 millimeter tip, and we're just gonna go in and add some extra little details here and there. Alright, so what we want to do, of course, is first outline everything. Wait, the markers are in the way. So I'm just gonna go over it, right? And as we go, we're gonna actually add a little bit more detail here and there. So for example, like I know that this ridge, there's a ridge like on his nose right here. I also know that there's a ridge like right here that is slowly going towards like the eye ridge, right? But actually it's like going like this, and then we have like a part of the eye ridge that's like behind that area, if that makes sense. And then over here we like they just go like into the eye socket like that, and they just disappear over there like that. All right, and then we know like I actually drew the eye at the wrong location. So if you followed along and you actually listened to my advice, then you didn't draw, like you didn't press too hard down on your pencil, because now we're just gonna make an eye right there, right there, and then we can later erase everything. So now for the mouth, we're just gonna draw like a couple of bumpy, scaly lines here, and it's not gonna, again, it's not gonna be completely 100% accurate to the screen, but I'm gonna try to do my best at creating something that looks similar enough that you can instantly tell, like, okay, this is the Jurassic World Rebirth T-Rex. And again, this is for the people that are just the casual drawers, you know, like people that just like to draw for fun and they don't want to have everything to be 100% accurate, just want to have some fun and they want to learn. This is for them. If you are one of them, this is for you. All right, here we go. Just finishing those scaly lines right along there. Right now we want to have a distinction between the teeth and the gums, because you can see the T-Rex's its gums actually, and we're gonna try to do our best at capturing everything as good as we can. There we go. And on every curved line that we drew, we're gonna draw a tooth. My dogs might start barking. I apologize for that in advance. There we go. We're gonna continue on drawing those teeth. There we go. And in between those teeth, we're gonna draw like a little bit of the gum, you know, like sticking out on the other side. And over here as well, we just wanna make sure that we see clearly where the teeth connect to the jaw. So right now, it's already starting to look a lot better than when we started, right? And it's all just a process of, you know, like trusting the process. It's just trust, you know, you have to trust the process, and eventually something might come out. There's this fly again. I'm really sorry for those flies. But eventually something will come out that looks decent enough that you might actually be satisfied with your drawing, right? I'm just gonna draw these lines going up. And these are just extra little details that make the drawing look more complete. And it's not necessary, because we are gonna go over it with color later, but it is something that might help in like helping you understand a little better where everything goes and how everything works with shading and, you know, lighting. All right, there we go. So now, just to show you guys that if we, for example, erase, actually, I don't even know where my eraser is. Wait, I'll be right back. All right, here we are again. I completely lost my eraser. It was a really nice one, but it's because I just, you know, switched rooms and everything is packed. But I'm gonna use this one. Just open it up, and I'm gonna try to erase part of like what we already have established here, since it's, I just want to show you guys how much of a difference it actually makes. It actually looks decent, wouldn't you agree? So we're just gonna continue on with our thing and try to put as much detail into the drawing as we can, while at the same time trying to be quick. Alright, so here's the like skin flap that is like right there. I don't know what it's called. If you know the name of those things, like I think it's the jaw muscles and stuff, like the cheek, I don't even know. Alright, and it appears that this line that I drew was actually not correct. It's supposed to be a little bit more curved like that. That's a little better. And we can follow that up with some scales actually. And we're gonna do that as good as we can. We're gonna do the same thing as we did for the upper jaw with the lower jaw, just creating these bits and pieces of scaly skin. Alright, and I kind of messed up on this one, but we're gonna come back to that later. And then we can just curve it all down, right? Just like so. Like that. And that actually gives the illusion like there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of detail. You might not have to completely draw in like the lower jaw because there's a lot of green and vegetation that is kind of like visible there, like covering everything up. Alright, let's draw in the teeth. And for the teeth we're gonna do the same thing. First draw in the gummy area, right? The gums, whatever you call them, I believe they're just called the gums. And also we want to draw in like the tongue already, and the bottom we don't really want to meddle with that too much because some of the teeth are going to be covering that line. So if we would already draw in the line for the tongue completely, it will sort of mess up the teeth, and we don't want that. I'm just drawing more teeth than I had planned, because I just had a couple of them with pencil, but I'm just going over it and putting in a couple more because it looks a little better. Now we can actually focus on the line for the tongue. Be very careful that you don't accidentally go over the teeth themselves. Right. And let's put in like a little line to indicate that that's like the middle of the tongue. Alright, we have a couple of lines going into the jaw like this, showing that it doesn't just end there. It's just not just a black hole over there, it's actually like some tissue still going on. Then we have a hump over here, which is most likely going to be its neck. It's a very pronounced thing, and there's a lot of shadow on it as well. And then we have like the rest of its neck and the body. Alright, so for the body we're going to draw like an extra little thin line over here, because that's going to be like the shape of its body, basically. Like you have You have like the back, and then you have like the area where like the legs attached and everything, and like kind of like has a little extra plane. If that makes sense. I don't know if it makes sense. Let's see where we are. Okay, so we can actually draw in this part of the lower jaw, and we can put a little bit more pronunciation of this hole that is like in the skull. And I know that on modern dinosaurs, I mean modern realistic dinosaurs don't have that, but apparently Jurassic Park dinosaurs do. Alright, let's actually get the eye in place as well. So you have a pupil with a piece of white in between, like right there. There's gonna be like some white highlight, and that's fine. There we have the Jurassic World Rebirth T-Rex. Well, obviously it's not done yet. We still want to first erase all the pencil lines. Let's do that first. There we go. And now you want to focus on the background. So what I always like to do is, the first thing I like to do is start with the part that's like furthest back, and then slowly work my way forwards with markers. Let's first like get rid of all of this, because you're gonna be able to see it throughout like this whole thing. So I'm gonna start with my lightest color. Actually, this is my lightest color, my lightest green, right? So remember, we have from every color that we're gonna be using 3 shades: very dark one, a mid-tone, which is this one. I'm gonna show it like this. So this is gonna be the mid-tone, and this is gonna be the lightest one. And I reckon that this should actually be a lot lighter, so I might actually change this up real quick, because I feel like it's not light enough. So I'm gonna actually change it. G130. There it is. Okay. So I'm gonna change the lightest tone so you can clearly see, you know, dark, mid, light. So I'm gonna start with my lightest tone, and I'm actually gonna go over the background, like the whole complete background over here. I'm gonna do it really quickly, just some streaks, so that we have some coverage, you know, like of whatever you're trying to like do. I want to have some like, if you have some white spots in it, they will look kind of, you know, like they're blending in with this lighter tone. Because if you just have a white background and you're using a very dark color on top of it, you might have to, you know, put a lot of effort into cover everything. And you can do it very nicely, but it just takes a lot more time, in my opinion, if you're gonna have to worry about like covering all of the light areas. So this is like my step 1, right? And over here is gonna be like the horizon line, so I'm not gonna go over that too much. But at least we have like some color in the background. Now I want to start using my mid-tone. No, actually, I want to start using the darkest tone, and I'm gonna block in the darkest areas of the background. So over here, you have like a really dark area, and I'm just gonna draw it in like this, right? That's like the darkest area of the whole drawing, or like the darkest area of the whole background, actually. And as you can see, there are gonna be some lighter areas, because the darkest color is just so dark that it doesn't really cover everything like completely, and that actually you know, can be annoying. But because we went over it with like the lighter color first, it still looks pretty, you know, decent. Alright, we're actually not done yet, because there's more pockets of like dark areas. I'm just gonna draw in some pockets, because obviously, even though it's you know, it's daylight, there's still gonna be some shadows here and there, and we're still gonna be able to see them, like in the shadowy areas of trees, and like underneath the trees we can still see it. Now I want to go to my mid-tone, and I'm just gonna go over it, creating some foliage and some trees and some leaves here and there. And I'm not trying to go for like insane amount of detail. I just want to create something that looks like believable, like there is actually a tree there, you know. And actually I'm gonna use the other side instead of the brush side. I'm gonna use this side, the chisel nib, and just create like a couple of leaves here and there. And this also, because we have a lighter color already, gives us like some extra little highlights here and there. And I don't know what this is gonna look like when we're done though, but I'm just imagining, like I'm trying to come up with like ways to achieve the effect or achieve the look that I'm going for. And I'm actually gonna go over it again later to blend everything and to make it blend a little bit better, you know, make it look a little bit better here and there. I want to have some more darker spots here and there. There we go. And now I want to blend. So I'm going to go with the lightest color. And I'm just going to go over everything again, but especially these areas. I just want this to blend a little bit better. Kind of create something that looks a little bit blurry and everything. It looks really bad on camera actually. I'm just noticing how bad it looks on camera. But we're just gonna go with it. Now we can also go in with the gray actually. And we can create some like extra detail here and there, so that it doesn't look like it's just one tone all the way through. Alright, here as well. The light gray even. Just create some extra little, it just creates a little bit more depth, I guess. I really want this to be blended a little bit better, so I'm just gonna go over it and try to take out some pigment, and let me see if it actually goes through. It does go through the page, so I have to be careful. Alright, so there we go. That's like the basics. I guess. So now I actually want to go with the lightest gray, and I also want to go over the whole dinosaur, but especially at the areas where we're gonna expect to see like a little bit more shadow, you know, and I want to leave some really light highlights like here and there as well. So around the eye there's gonna be a lot of shadow, so I'm just gonna color that in completely. And it actually turned a little bit greenish, which is my favorite at the moment, because if you look at light in real life, if it reflects off of like a coloring surface, you can actually expect it to start coloring things. Like for example, if you have a white piece of paper and you put like something next to it that is like completely red, the sun will reflect the red light off of that object, and that white object that you're, or like a white piece of paper, it will actually start to look kind of reddish. So that's kind of what we're doing right now, or not what we're doing, but basically what was happening here, and that's a good